Hi, and welcome back. And this is going to be method number 2 for unwrapping the character head. And it is more advanced, but it gives you much better results. And you can also make changes and make repairs before any bad things happen to your UV map and before you start painting, so you have less surprises. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is you'll notice that I've already marked the major seam going down the back of the skull here. So I'm going to go ahead and just press U to unwrap, and there's my unwrap again. And again, it looks pretty good with some problems, but I want to now actually see it over here in the 3D window. So what I'm going to do differently this time around is I'm going to come to the bottom center of the UV window, and you'll see that you've got the image browser here. You've got the button that says New, and you've got Open. And the Open is if you already have an image. What we want to do is we want to click on New, and we want to actually create a test image that's going to show us if there's any distortion or any stretching, how much is there and where is it happening, so that way we can fix it. So I'm going to give it a name here, and I'm going to call it UV test. And the important thing here is this is the name, and then right here where it says generated type. And you want to choose UV grid, and you'll see what that looks like in just a moment. So I'm going to click on OK now, and now you get this funky looking grid shape with multiple colored plus symbols and grid squares. Okay, so now we see it over here in the UV window, and that's all good. But now we want to see it over here in the 3D window. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press the letter Z, and I'm going to get into textured mode. I can also come down here to this little pop-up menu and choose textured here. Now you'll notice that it still hasn't shown up. It changed to a shaded mode, but it hasn't shown up here. And that's because I have to actually set up all my materials and my textures over here on the right. So I'm just going to do that real quickly. So I'm going to come over here to the material button, and I'm going to go ahead and call this monkey matte. And then I'll go to my texture button. I'll create a new texture, monkey text. Okay, so it's an image or movie. I'm going to scroll down here, and when I get down here to load the image is already created. It's this test image. So I can just come here to the image browser instead of doing open, and I can go ahead and I can actually choose my UV test grid, and you can see it showing up right over here, and that looks pretty good. If I tab out of edit mode, you'll notice that it's really dark, and again, that's the lighting that's going on. So I'm just gonna, I tabbed out of edit mode. I'm going to take my light here, and I'm going to change my light to a Hemi. That's the one that I recommend for simple, nice, and easy editing. Okay, so now that my monkey is well lit, I can really see what the heck is going on. I'm going to tab back into edit mode just so you can see. And I'm going to turn on, over here in the UV window, I'm going to turn on the sync feature so that way I can see my UVs without anything being selected. Okay, so now if you look over here, you basically want all of your grid checkers to be relatively the same size, no stretching. So you can see in the forehead here, I'm going to turn off the shine, the specular value, that way, there we go. You can see there's distortion in the forehead here. You can see there's a ton of distortion happening in the ears here. They don't even look like checkers, they look like spots or something. So basically what I'm going to do is, like I did in the last video, I'm going to go ahead and select the edges going around the ear that attach the ear to the head. And again, this is covered in the very first video. I'm going to mark those as seams, and let's see what this looks like. Okay. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Now I'm going to go ahead and unwrap, and let's see what that does. Okay, so you'll see that just like in the first video, the ear is now separated from the head. There's the hole right there. The ear is now appearing over here, And let's look at the head here. And you can see that it's definitely better. The checkers are showing up much better. We're still getting distortion up here on the ear tip. And the way I fixed that in the last video was I separated the front and the back of the ear by selecting these edges right here. Again, I left one of them unselected, and that's to make what's called a hinge. I'm going to mark those as seams, and I'm going to go ahead and unwrap again, and let's see what it looks like. Okay, now the ear looks great. You'll see that the checkerboard, there's a little bit of stretching on the backside here. I happen to know that that's not going to be a big deal, but you can see on the front here it looks really crisp. Now if you want to take this an extra step further, you could go ahead and you could mark these back edges right here, and you could do that. It creates a little more. I don't think you need to, but you certainly could. So that's pretty much it. I'm going to pause the video and do the other ear, and then I'll come back. Okay, so we're back, and to finish up, you can see that I have the two ears unwrapped. The ears look pretty good, looking at that distortion, and that's why, again, we're using this checkerboard grid. The last little step that I haven't done yet is you can see in the UV editor is the forehead is pinching right here on the this point right here. You can see what's happening right here is that they're slightly off. You can see these checkerboards right here are a little different than these checkerboards right here. So the way that I alleviate that is I select these two going across the forehead here, and I'm going to mark those as seams. And then let's take a look at the base of the chin, and you can see that they're kind of distorted and stretched here, and the way that I fix that is I select the bottom of the chin, and then I do a little cross selection there, kind of going horizontally there. And again, you can see it's kind of getting distorted and stretched out and looking really weird around his chin. So again, if I go ahead and mark those as seams, let's see the improvement. And what should happen here in the UV, if you watch the first video, is that if you notice the face here, it's kind of tight and small, and the mouth and the nose are really all bunched up. So now when I unwrap this, it will become a much more relaxed, what's called a relaxed version of itself. And you can see that the checkerboards look much, much, much better, which is good. And you can see the forehead here. They look much more uniform. And you'll see in the UV that everything widens out, spreads out a little bit. It basically gives you a bigger area to paint on. So again, what I would do here right now is I want to rearrange my windows. So real quickly, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select all in the 3D window. I'm going to come over here to the UV window, and I'm going to turn off the sync feature. Now when I press Control Tab, I can choose island mode. And now I can just right click on certain islands. It selects them all. I can go ahead and rotate them, grab them, and rearrange them. So that's my ear there. I'm pretty happy with that. I'm going to go ahead and move the eyes a little bit away from each other, something like that. There we go. A little bit more advanced, I'm going to take this other ear here and I'm going to flip it and put it on top of this one, so that way I only have to paint it once, and that way it's the exact same thing. So here's the ear here, but I want to flip it. I want to do what's called a mirror flip. So to do a mirror flip is I'm going to come down here to the UV's menu. I'm going to come up here to the mirror command, and I'm going to say mirror on the x-axis. I've now just flipped it. I can now grab it. I can rotate it. And it looks like I did not choose the exact same seam. So you can see it right here. I did not select the exact same one. Nope. And I can see it right here. So what I need to do, and we'll see if we can do this in real time here, I'm going to go ahead and clear that seam, and I'm going to mark this seam here. They have to be done the exact same way. Okay, I think that's done the exact same way. Let's see if it works. Okay. So now I think I have a better unwrapping. Again, I'll rotate this ear here, grab it, rotate this ear here, UV menu, mirror, x-axis, it gets flipped, rotated. Okay, so now it isn't exact. It's going to take me a little bit of trial and error to get it on here, but that's actually not too shabby for the first time. So you can line it up, you can rotate it and scale it a little bit. You probably don't need to scale it much, but I probably need to rotate it a little bit. But you get the idea that it is going to go right on top of itself. And that way I only have to paint it once. Okay, so to finish this up, once I'm happy with it, I would select all, go to the UVs menu and choose Export UV Layout. I would then save it to a folder, like say my desktop, and I would give it a name, UV. And hit Export UV Layout. Okay, that's it. I wish you luck, and try to use this method. I think it works out really well. Good luck.